Hello, everybody. Welcome. I am so stoked. So I've been like kind of incognito because I've been doing 4 days of Tony Robbins. No joke. This man is fire. He is insanely like the events he puts on are crazy. They're 12 to 14-hour days. No word of a lie. High energy, high everything. High expectations, high everything. There's nothing else to say about Tony Robbins. Like, just Google the man if you don't know him. Um, I just want to see if I can switch my camera around because it seems to be mirroring and it messes me up. But yeah, so I wanted to come on here today. I wanted to share some of the wisdom that we gathered over these last 4 days. Like I was down and out yesterday because it was such a huge integration day that it's still processing. Like my brain is still, I feel like an ant in an anthill that's been disturbed. There's no other way to describe it. But it's been electric, it's been fire, it's been like life changing when it comes to what you learn. And one thing that stuck out for me during these 4 days, especially when he hit day one, he talked about what he calls the hero's journey. And for those of us that don't know what this is, it's how we live our lives. So he talks about the hero's journey. So what is the hero's journey? Well, we're here. We're wherever you are, whatever you're doing as you watch this, you're tapping in. Think about how your life is right now. It's average, it's ordinary, whatever that is for you, but you wake up every day, you live the same life day after day, week after week, month after month, year after year. And it's always been the same. But a hero's journey, their life is never the same. And why is it never the same? Well, we wake up, we live our ordinary lives, and then we have a call to adventure. He calls it a call to adventure. So something taps on our door to try to wake us up. And we either jump to that awakening, i.e., me doing the Tony Robbins, for example, or we shy away from it. So we can refuse it, in which case our ordinary life just continues until the next knock and then the next knock. But some knocks will open the door and take advantage of the opportunity. So consider the Tony Robbins training for me that opportunity. So when we take in that opportunity, we meet our mentor that's going to up level us, guide us, coach us, teach us something, do something with us, and our lives change. Something's never the same after that. We can still go back living our ordinary lives, but there's a shift within us. And then we cross that threshold where you want more. You love the change that you had experienced and or transitioned or went through, and now you want more. So then the next knock comes on the door, and we find ordeals take place. Life happens. You know, you get a call, somebody's in the hospital or somebody passed away. Like, these are life's ordeals. They come knocking while you're going through this whole transition. And it's how we handle those ordeals that come knocking based on that journey that we're taking. How do we handle that? How do we shift and change? And how does our perspective change as these ordeals arrive after we've knocked on opened a few doors from the knocking of the opportunities? And then as we grow older and as we learn and shift our mindset around these ordeals, then that's when the elixir stirs. And that's when more opportunities come knocking versus the ordeals, because our mindset is shifting. Everything is shifting to a more adventurous life, more positive life, so that when that ordeal knocks, and I'll give a prime example. My grandma recently passed away. She was 96 years old. I had choices. I could have wallowed in my own self-pity. Oh my God, I lost my grandmother. I'm 5,000 kilometers away, 3,000 miles away if you're in the US, across the country. I wasn't there. I didn't see her. Like, I could have gone down that pity party, but I chose, from multiple conversations with her and having the beautiful life that she had, when that ordeal knocked, I handled it completely different. And I was able to say, no, I shed my tears. I said my piece. She's gone. We've had this conversation. She lived till she was 96. I'm 51, and I was able to have her in my life for 51 years. And that is a celebration of life. I celebrated her life. I didn't mourn her loss. I didn't sit in the wallow in the negative, dense, heavy energy. I instantly felt her presence with me and guiding me and coaching me along the way. And because of that, um, ordeal knocked 3 days later with Brian's uncle passing away, the one that we're very close with. Like, he's got relatives down east, but his uncle Austin was the guy to go to. He was our shoulder that we vented to. He was our shoulder that when we wanted advice, he was our wisdom seeker. So he was a huge impact in mine and my husband's life, him and his wife both. And he passed 3 days later. They were both in the same home or the same lodge. So ordeal number two knocked, but the same thing. He was in his 80s. I turned to gratitude for having them in my life as long as I had them, for being able to contribute with them for as long as I could versus going down that pity party of, oh my God. So because the ordeal was not so negatively impacted, the elixir kicked in and then opportunities knocked. And then the next opportunity that knocked was this Tony Robbins training. And it's created a vicious cycle in how a hero lives versus the ordinary, and being able to recognize those opportunities. Now, are there scams out there? Yes, but if you do your due diligence, you won't get scammed. Like, follow some basic protocols, check into it, look into it. When digital marketing came knocking on my door, first thing I went to is this a scam? First thing that popped in my mind. Because when I heard that it was training that teaches you everything you need to know with 100% profit, I thought, scam. Nothing's 100% profit, scam. Was the first place my brain went to. And then when I started digging and I thought, I have to dig, because if I don't dig and it is 100% profit and it is legit, that's huge opportunity right there. Like, I couldn't not check into it to prove that it was a scam or not. So when I was introduced to the community that comes with it, now over 50,000 people in this community, I realized that, you know, scammers don't create communities that are multiple years old with tens of thousands of people in them, with events happening in the calendar every single week, like almost every day of the week. Scammers don't do that. So I was like, okay, this is not a scam. So what is it? How do they do it at 100% profit? I'm like in awe at this point. And I'm like, what the hell? So I dug and I dug and I thought, by the time I was done digging the real information, not the bullshit information on the websites, I was like, okay, this makes sense. And it's going to teach me some skills I want for the business that I was floundering in. And I was like, whew, this could be a game changer. So I jumped to the opportunity. I knocked on the opportunity. And that opportunity led to a mastermind, which has led to Tony, which has led to, like, it's so many things have come knocking. You know, Tony Robbins actually came through network marketing, not the digital growth community, but they intertwined, because when I got introduced to Tony through my network marketing, I found out the founder of the digital marketing has also attended Tony Robbins. So this has been huge because that's been her catalyst, is his teaching. And that's how she teaches, based on his knowledge and information. So it's been interesting how this, and I get goosebumps just talking about it. It's interesting how this hero's journey unravels when we're open to receiving the gifts, the mentors, the guides, the opportunities as they knock. And as we step forward, what I learned with the Unleashed with Tony is that our belief systems kick in and the doubt kicks in. And where is the doubt coming from? The doubt is our belief system. What do we believe? Why are we doubting that we can do this? Why are we doubting that anything can be successful for us? And this is something that I struggled with. So I dove into this over the last 4 days, because for me, give me a job and I'll kill it. I'll work for someone else and I'll kill it. Absolutely kill it. I helped the last company I worked with, team of three. all of us had the same attitude. We killed it. And we helped that company earn over $40 million in 1 year. You're probably getting tired of me saying that, but it's a huge accomplishment. I'm proud of it. But at the same time, I was holding resentment because it's like when it got slow, they let me go. And it's like, what the F, right? So at the same time, I decided to shift that negativity and say, thank you for the gift. Because when they let me go, I wouldn't be here right now if they hadn't let me go. This opportunity would have not knocked on my door. I would have not been able to attend if I was still working. I would not be where I'm at right now if I was still working. So the opportunities and the blessings in what comes our way, when the negative comes, it's an opportunity to learn, to grow, to step into it and feel it and learn from it and grow, or not. It's a choice. But my belief system was, and the one that I'm attacking, is that I can work for someone else and kill it. But yet when it comes to my own business, what's the holdup? Like, I don't get it. Like, I was sitting there and I don't get it. So when I joined Unleash the Power Within, the title itself is Unleash the Power Within. That's the fundamental I wanted to break. That was the belief system I wanted to figure out and understand, because understand it's on autopilot. You're unaware it's functioning on autopilot. How you think, feel, and act when you first wake up in the morning is autopilot. It's been ingrained in you for so long. It's autopilot. And Dr. Joe Dispenza talks about this too. But what Tony touches on, and Dr. Joe does too, but Tony in the live event really helps narrow it down. And this is why I love in-person and live events. I'm not a huge fan of digital programming unless there's some sort of support with it. And this is why. Because there's always questions, and you can't ask a question to a screen. You can't. So unless you have connection to have those, to write those questions down and have them answered, or understand a process, or have somebody walk you through a journey, which Tony does in all of his teachings, which is huge, because then that, instead of sitting here learning, we're actually physically moving our bodies and learning how to integrate and learning how to shift it. And that was powerful. Out of all the teachings I've done, I've had only a handful of people that have helped me integrate in my body. You know, the beautiful Bahia, Emily Harrison, my beautiful coach that helped me design my program. They all get into the body. They all teach you how to sink into the body in different ways. And, you know, with those ladies, it was through meditation and calming the body. Tony taught the total opposite of energizing the body, but start with meditation. Prime your body with meditation. And then when you're done your meditation, step into the energy of life and start feeling, I can, I will no longer surrender. I will no longer, be that victim. I will be strong. I will be powerful. I will be a leader. I will lead, not follow. I will survive, not thrive, or I will thrive, not survive. Those types of things, like stepping into that once you're done your priming meditation and starting your day off with energy, like even looking at my body language, how it's changed from my other ones. He talked about, the sternum. When you rise above, ignite your energy, where is your chest? It's up, and your energy is up. And then as you lean forward, you can almost feel it instantly, that instant pivotal drop of where your energy falls when you start to slouch. And now I have energy, I'm hyper, and my hyperness can be misconceived as energy. It is a form of hyper energy, but it's not directed. It's that ant in the anthill that's been disturbed. That's the difference. So having focused energy and energy, life force energy, like Tony has a book called Life Force, and it kind of dives into it a bit deeper, but that's that life force energy that's different from, excitable energy. Yes, it is excitable. It's one way to describe it, but it's different than exuding just to replace energy. It comes from a deeper source, and it's a thriving force. It's a thriving energy. It's not something you have to drum up. It's something you embody and feel. And now your day and your choices get made from that level of energy with the smile on the face. Even just smiling makes a huge difference. They say laughter is the seed to the soul, and he brought that up. Laugh. You need to have laughter. You need to incorporate laughter. You need to smile often, because this is lifting up of the energy. It's a different force. So if you're feeling down, try smiling and laughing, figuring out when you get that down. Okay, what is my belief systems? What are my behaviors around this? So for me, I started diving into what are my patterns? What are my belief systems? And that working for myself doesn't work like I work for other people. I was like, what is this bullshit? Why? Where does it come from? But it's old patterns and belief systems. I was having conflict, what he calls conflicting belief systems. You know, um, for example, conflicting belief system would be rich get richer, poor get poorer, but yet, I think a bird just hit my window, but yet having that other belief system saying, yes, I can do it. Yes, I can do it. But yet I've always been in the poor bracket. So that conflicting. So when that friction happens, you have conflict. And when the conflict happens, you can't move forward. It's almost like the battlefield. When people come together, those of you that have watched, oh God, what's the name of it? Ah, any medieval type shows, when they come to battle, they clash. There's no movement forward until the stronger one takes hold, and then they start to shift the ground, and then they take over and they win. So when you have conflict, you can't win in conflict. You have to dissolve the conflict and move. You have to find the winning side to move forward. So with our belief systems, our negative belief systems tend to be that winning force because it's on autopilot. We can't change, we cannot shift what we do not acknowledge. And if it's on autopilot, we haven't acknowledged it. So for me, I had to dive in deep and what is this? What is this all about? And that's when I realized I had some deep-seated belief systems that came from childhood I was not even aware of. Belief systems that I heard my parents say that money can be the root of all evil, that, rich people are assholes, and, all of this stuff. So that lies in the back of my subconscious. And when I go to work for myself and build my own wealth, that was the conflict battle. And that's why I floundered like a fish on land last year. It was a great year for learning, but it was a tough year for earning. And that's the difference. I should patent that. That was a tough year for earning, but a great year for learning, because that's when we learn, is in the conflict as well. So last year was a huge learning curve for me. And late last year into this year, that's when things started to shift, because my mind started shifting. And now that I've taken this, I can do some massive shifting, because now with the tools and the teachings, I can now sit and break down what's going on with my belief system. How am I feeling right now? Yesterday I had a headache. I was like, oh my God, there's so much I want to do. But this was my body telling me, you need to rest and integrate. Like, I took in and absorbed, like goosebumps every time I talk about it, absorb so much information. I needed time to rest my body, rest my mind, and integrate. I still have a slight headache today, believe it or not, but my body needed to integrate. I needed to rest. I needed to stop. And you need to pay attention to your body, because if you don't, your body will tell you. And we talk about often disease as well. I bring up disease not near as much as I should, but there's been a ton of it in my life. There's been a ton of it in my family. And disease comes from dis-ease. So when we don't have ease in our life, it's discomforting. And that's what causes our body to chemically create disease. And again, some of you may believe in this, you may not, but it's a matter of facts and science that when our body is in constant stress and constant stress hormones, our bodies are going to break down a lot faster than someone who's in harmony. You look at the monks, they tend to live forever, versus those of us living in the corporate world. If we don't get that stress under control, it will control us. And if we don't get that stress under control, that's a lot of stress and tension on our body. It will manifest, because our bodies need rest. And if you don't give it what it needs, it will force you to give it what it needs. And it comes up in the form of cancer. It comes up in the form of heart disease, lung disease, dementia, you name it. It comes in the form of disease, dis-ease. And then you're forced to rest, but now you have stress. And we have to get this under control. Now, I want to share a quick story with you before I bump off. During this training, there was a gentleman there. He'd gone through a lot of Tony's stuff, and he understands this mindset stuff way better than I do. He's been around it for multiple tens of years, decades. He's been hanging out with Tony and been part of Tony's life and his seminars. But his mom was diagnosed with cancer, and the doctor said she only had a few months to live. And he said, "Don't you tell her that. You do not tell her that." And him and the doctor started to do this, and they ended up calling security on him. And he told the doctor, he said, "I'll tell you what," he said, "I'll back off. But he said, if you tell her she's got a couple months to live, I will find you, hunt you down, and I'll break every bone in your body. You do not tell her. You can tell her she has cancer, but you do not give her your deadline. That is your prediction, and I refuse to accept." He said, I accept your diagnosis, but I refuse to accept your verdict, because it is your verdict. It's your opinion. She has only a few months left. So you do not tell her." So they had to do emergency surgery on her. So he and his sister went in the room. His sister's bawling and all upset because mom's going to die. He looked at his sister. "You have a choice. Either you get it together or you get out, because you're not helping matters right now. So decide. You stay and snap out of it, or you leave." So she snapped out of it. And when his mom finally woke up, first thing he did, he's trying to stroke her head, which he said was impossible to do, and it was hard because of all the tubes and wires coming to monitor. And when she first blinked her eyes and woke up, the first thing he did was, "Hey, Mom, great day to be alive." And he started feeding her positive hyper energy, in the sense of, "Mom, got some news. You got cancer." And he said, "You can choose to," how did he put it? I can't remember how he worded it now. I wrote it down. I'll have to find it and share it with you, because it's powerful. But yeah, he did it in a form. I wrote it down somewhere. I got my book here. I'm trying to find it now. I should have had this ready. I didn't know I was going down this rabbit hole. I honestly did not know I was going down this rabbit hole. But with cancer, he said, you can, I know I wrote it down. Bear with me, because this is important. Because it's all about belief systems. And wait till you hear the end of it. Screw it. I'll just post it when I find it. I can't find it. But, with cancer, he said you can bend and adhere to the diagnosis, or you can move past it. I'm still shifting here. Oh, here we go. Cancer, you can surrender, or you can survive. What's your pick? You can surrender or you can survive. That's cancer. So he said that to his mom. And that woman lived for another 11 and a half years after that. That's a power suggestion. And you know what? When doctors say get your affairs in order, you should have your affairs in order anyway. You should. I had a will when I was 23 years old. The minute I bought my first home, I had a will. You should actually have one prior to that. The minute you live out on your own and start accumulating things and have your own bank account, you should have a will. Have a will. Because when you die, it has to go somewhere. And if it's not dedicated or assigned to someone, it's sitting in limbo. Get a will. Be prepared no matter what. Your affairs should always be in order, because you don't know when your ticket is up, period. So if you always have them in order, you don't ever have to worry about it. So when someone tells you to get your affairs in order, you can say, I can survive. Go F yourself. Because if anything does happen, you're good to go. Doesn't matter. But you could live for another 11 and a half years. What's it going to be? But the only way she lived that 11 and a half years is because of what went on up here. The doctor never ever told her she had months to live. He listened to what James had to say and he did not tell her. He told her she had cancer, but he did not give her the verdict. And that's one of the things that I struggle with our medical system myself as well. You know, I do believe there's power in suggestion, and that's a lot of our epitome. But unfortunately, the power of suggestion, for some reason, the negative takes over, and the negative takes over because of our belief system. So until we get a hold of that and understand our belief systems and start breaking them down and start questioning them and reframing them and coming up with new ones, and then start living them to get it embodied so it doesn't creep back in unknowingly. That's the tough part. That's the hard part if you don't stay consistent with it. It can be easy if you choose it to be, but you have to choose it, is the key. The belief system that everything is hard is a belief system. The belief system in that I can't is a belief system. When things come out of your mouth, your posture in your body and what comes out of your mouth is what frames your life. That's why you are where you are in your lifetime, is because of how you stand, how your energy runs through your body, and what's coming out of here. That's why your life is where it's at. Why my life is where it's at. So if you want to improve it, or if there's any area that you want to change it, the change starts with you. It starts with acknowledgement. It starts with your belief system and your values, and then shifting those. But you have to have the tools and how to do that. So if you want to gain more information and learn how you can start shifting, then come follow me, come join me. You know, I have this link down here because some of this training, actually a lot of the training is in here. A lot of the training is in here. And you'll get more of it in the community. And now that I've taken Unleashed, you're going to have me giving it to you. That's one of my things I got to do today. I've got to do some video editing of videos that I'd done for my YouTube channel, but I'm also got to get in there and I'm going to start, revamping my email train for some of my customers. I'm going to add more because this is huge. I have welcome emails and then I drop them because they have the community. But then I realized after this training, it's like, what if they're working full time and they're not always tapped into the community? What can I give them in the form of an email to give them that grace, to give them that learning tool? So I'm going to take what I've learned from Tony these last 4 days, start dumping them into my customers that choose this, and they're going to be fed what I've learned and how I've learned it. And they're going to have access to me if they want to dive deeper. It's just that simple. And my coaching program, the beautiful Emily Harrison, I love her. I spent tens of thousands on her and she was worth every single penny. And I'm going to take that model, that program that we designed together, and I'm just going to tweak it just ever so slightly with some of the stuff that I learned from Tony, because she is a beautiful genius in her own right. Like that woman, again, goosebumps everywhere. Her genius radiates, and her and Tony are aligned. You listen to Tony's meditation and you listen to her. She talks in the form of the Akash. He calls it the sky. Same thing. But it aligns. It aligns like goosebumps. So all the people, all my mentors have been spiritual guides, spiritual mentors, people like Tony that are, he says, I'm not your guru, but he is. He is my guru. She's my guru. Dr. Joe Dispenza is my guru. Who's your guru? I'm looking at all of this and my mind is shifting. And as I went through these last 4 days, and I've never had this wake up before, it's like, can I be somebody's guru? Do I have the power to be somebody's guru? Yes, I do. I do. Just got to get there. Got to do the miles like Tony did. Got to do the miles just like Emily did. Corey Poirier is another one. Like, he's passionate about helping people speak. I've taken his speaking boot camp. I bought his speaking program. One of my gurus. So can I be that guru? Yes, I can. Can you be that guru? Yes, you can. But you have to start somewhere. So where are you going to start? Like I say, a lot of the training is in here. This is also how to make money, and it focuses heavily on how you can make money. Because like Tony said, we were taught money is the root of all evil. Well, he's given away billions of dollars. He starved as a kid. He's given billions to feed America. During our program, there was a family that lost their home in the California fires. Their parents, this gentleman that was there, his mom's in her 90s, and they lost their home. They lost everything. And Tony gave them like hundreds of thousands of dollars as a donation to get the rebuild started. It's when you can use money for good, it doesn't have to be evil. That's programming our parents had because that's all they witnessed. They had the blinders on to that's all they wanted to see. And you see people like Donald Trump, and he can be an asshole in public. There's no question. Does he give his billions away? I don't know. Maybe he does. I didn't research it, but maybe he does. But the difference is he can, we can't. We have to build our wealth so we can do that. I watched the documentary on Bon Jovi. He's probably the first singer that I've known from that era that has now not tapped into the drugs. His band did. His band had drug and alcohol, and he did drink, but it wasn't obsessive. It wasn't successive. And he's worth, over $400 million, and he has a restaurant. Pay what you can afford. Like, he's all about feeding people. Like, he's been the philanthropist that's given back with his multi-millions, and he's teaching his kids to do the same. So money doesn't have to be evil. It can be good. And I'm starting up a community, and I'm starting up a group and a community for parents that have kids with special needs. And I want to see the parents come join this community from no matter where you're at, because if you've been through it, I want to know what's worked for you because it might help others. And those of you that are just entering it, come get the advice from those. I want to eventually get professionals in there and have them contribute. I sat on a call with a group of people that are dealing with autism and parents with autistic kids and some young adults that are autistic living on their own. And I watched this 70-year-old woman say in this meeting that she's in her 70s, her son is in his 30s, his autism is not allowed him to get out on his own. He hibernates in his room playing video games, and she's in her 70s. She said, I'm concerned what's going to happen to him next because we live here in the Edmonton area and I don't have family here. She just described me other than the age and the child's age. My child's still in high school, so yes, she's still home. But at this point, I think she's capable of getting out on her own, but right now she's not. But I'm listening to this woman, and she's on an autism call, and not one person said to her, I'll put some information in the chat, or let's connect. I have some resources. Not one. And she's concerned of what's going to happen to her child, who's in his 30s, still living at home with autism, and is unable to hold down a job and unable to function in society on his own. And not one person said, I have help for you or I have resources. Every time I get on these meetings, my blood boils because I see balls dropping. And I want to fill that gap. I want to catch those balls for those people because I've got a ton of them in the air trying to figure this stuff out. I have an autistic child. She was diagnosed last August, and we've had zero to no support. I'm not joking. Zero to no support. And anybody who knows me knows I dig my freaking heels in. So I have paid out of pocket for her to have hypno. I have paid out of pocket for her to sit with spiritual people, to learn meditation, to learn protection in her energy, to help protect herself and to guide her own energy. I have paid out of pocket for non-traditional medicine that has worked better so far than the traditional medicine. The child will not see a therapist because she had a bad experience when she was younger because we didn't know what we didn't know, and therefore nothing was catered to her situation. Now she judges all therapists. She has one bad experience. She judges and gauges them all. She needs help with that. I don't want to say I can't help her with it. I can help her with it when she's ready to get the help. But the thing is, I've learned this weekend of how she's functioning, and I may be able to change my communication patterns now when I dive into this a bit more deeply, understanding what her needs are. See, as humans, we have 7 needs. And if I can pick her top two, if I can label her top two, then I can change how I communicate with her to help start guiding her and coaching her myself and helping others do the same. Taking that skill and applying it to my coaching is going to be huge. God, something just scared the crap out of me. I think a bird hit another window. So that's going to be huge. Not often I get startled. You just witnessed it. But that in itself is huge. So if I can leave you with anything, if you want more information on how to start earning more money, because money is not evil, and if that's part of your challenge, part of your nemesis, it's here. Here's where you get started, because everything is mapped out for you. I have never in my entire days ever had anything fully mapped out for me, and it's here, fully mapped. So the blueprint is free. You can fill in your email. That part is free. The information that pops up is all free. It helps educate you on what this program and system and how it all works. I will email you a copy of our beautiful new updated blueprint that better explains than the old one. This one is fire. And go through it all. That information, how it all works, is free because it's not a scam. So get the information, go through it with fine-tooth comb and nail. There's videos for those of you that are visual. And this has been one of the things that I've had a challenge with because I'm not a big reader. I don't want to read. I want you to talk to me. So there's videos that can explain it and give you a picture, paint you a picture of how it all works. And I love the upgrade. She's been listening and she's delivered. So go get it. That part is free. What are you waiting for? Your life, your mentor, your guide could be me. It could be the channel through me that you meet your mentor on the other side in the community. But it all starts here. It all starts here. So if you're ready to start changing and shifting, jump in, dive in, learn how you can earn online in a step-by-step process. Everything is pretty much done for you other than your learning and your implementation. That's it. Like, it doesn't get any easier than that. Like, this has become such a no-brainer. What I bought, I thought it was, oh my God. And she's upgraded it. And now it's like, oh my God. So don't hesitate in here. It's my goal. I'm refining how I'm functioning so I can help more of you. It was my goal to help, 10 to 15 a week, and I'm going to be increasing that. I want to help more. And I can do it through the automation and the learning. I can do it through the community. And I want to be your guide. I want to be your support the best way I know how. And the only way to tap in is to tap in. Either follow me on social media or get into the blueprint and learn what that's all about, because that's where you get more of me. So let's dive in, learn, earn. Let's get going. Let's get motoring. Let's work on your belief systems. Let's break some of those old patterns and watch the world open up for you.